Okay, shalom, shalom. Well, Shabbat shalom, because right now we're in our festival of Sukkot, our second day, and I have here in San Antonio with me the Kohen, Rabbi Simon Attav, and I'm Rabbi Kifa Ben Yah. Welcome to another edition of the Lion's Den, and welcome Rabbi Simon again to San Antonio.
Thank you very much.
We have an interesting topic that we're going to discuss today that I think is very, very pertinent and very, very important.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, but this topic, we're going to coin this topic, unrighteous children.
Well, bitter root.
Bitter root. So, in opening this topic, I think it's very important that we understand what is a bitter root.
Right. Well, a bitter root is when somebody is considered a wicked man or a wicked woman, and then that leads to other things like unrighteous children.
My goodness.
So a lot of the questions, a lot of the times you find in maybe not just in North America, other places of the world as well, you find that a family will have children, and those children don't listen to the parents, they don't obey the Torah laws, and the parents are saying, mothers are saying, oh, my son, oh, my daughter, she don't listen to me, she don't follow the Torah, why doesn't she listen, why doesn't she follow? That's basically a bitter root.
Yeah, and I think a lot of you probably have witnessed this as well. As you have come into Torah, maybe later on in your lives, if you already had in your Gentile life, had many children by a man or by a woman, and then you come into Torah and you wonder why the rest of your family members, like your son and your daughter, you're praying for them night and day to Abba Yahweh for them to come into Torah, and they're not coming. They don't seem to be as receptive to Torah as you were.
Right, because what we gain, for our answers. The question is why. For our answers, we always go back to our books, our sacred writings, and we go back to the Torah, the first 5 books. We go to Deuteronomy 29, verses, we read verses 18. It says, lest there should be among you man or woman, or mishpacha, family, or tribe, whose heart turns away this day from Yahweh your power, or Yahweh our power, to go and serve the powers or the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that produces poisonous and bitter fruit.
My goodness.
So it's really a sum up that what is the verse saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
The verse is saying that if there's a wickedness amongst you, then your end result will be wickedness as well.
Right. Wickedness begets more wickedness, right?
So wicked. So earlier on we were talking about a man and a woman. What if a man is righteous? And a woman is unrighteous? Should he place his seed in that woman, and vice versa?
Yeah.
We had a little discussion about that. Sensitive topic.
Yeah.
Should a righteous man, he wants to marry a woman, and he goes and finds a woman, and in North America especially, probably true, you'll be lucky to find a woman that has no children.
Right.
Single woman.
Right.
A single woman in North America likely is going to have children. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4.
Right.
So the question then is that she already has children from a Gentile father. So a righteous man, he decides to marry the woman, and let's assume that she has suddenly come to the Torah, revelation, and now she's become righteous. What do you do with the children?
That's a sensitive question.
Right.
Sensitive topic. And I think for that, as we discussed earlier, we need to look at these cases on a case-by-case basis, right?
Right.
So it's important that the couple get counsel, or that the particular righteous woman or righteous man get the necessary counsel that they need to make the right decision going forward.
So what if the man wanted to produce, maybe have more children? Maybe the man doesn't have any children. Maybe he wants to have now a child. So there are two things going on. The woman already has 4 children. They know nothing about Torah. Maybe they're grown up.
Right.
Maybe they're all 18, 20 years old. So you're not going to change 18, 20-year-old kids.
Right.
And their mentality is already set. Right. If they were brought up in Christianity or Buddhism or atheism, that's where they're going to be. Right. So now, is the man going to be able to handle a woman that has 4 children that are Gentile-oriented, number one. Number two, I'm just saying 4, it could be less. Right. It could be 2 children. So let's just say, is a man going to be able to handle 2 kids that are Gentile related? That's going to create a huge chasm between the man and the woman's relationship.
Right.
Because they're going to have a part to play, those kids, with the woman. And then the man has to adjust to those unrighteous children.
Right.
And we're not talking about unrighteous because they did something wrong according to the laws of San Antonio. We're talking about righteousness according to the laws of the God of Israel, Yahweh.
Well, here's a question, Hakohen. What is a righteous woman? What is a righteous woman?
That's a very good question. What is a righteous woman? Well, a righteous woman is one that follows her husband who is in Torah.
My goodness.
That's
all?
That's all.
Nothing else to it?
Nothing else to it.
So she just has to follow. So the onus, I guess, according to Torah, we know this, is on who?
We already read, if you remember in our previous program we made, we read that God will judge a man. And I'll read it again in this section of the program, but I think it's relevant because it says here, verses 20, Yahweh will not be willing to forgive him, but then the anger of Yahweh and his jealousy shall arouse against that man, not that woman,
that
man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall be upon him.
My goodness.
Not her.
My goodness.
Right? And Yahweh shall blot out his name from under Shemaim. Well, who is this man? Well, the context is here. And it comes to pass when he hears the words of this curse, in other words, this is talking about Torah.
Right.
Curse or a blessing.
Right.
So God is saying that if you hear this book and you say, I'm not going to follow it, you're an Israelite of some description, and you're a man because you're the head of the family,
right?
And you say, I'm not going to do it, and Yahweh says, and he speaks blessing for himself. I still have shalom, brother.
Yeah.
I don't care about Torah. I still have shalom,
yeah.
Right?
Right.
And then Yahweh says, no, but he keeps his halakha, he keeps the commandments with a rebellious heart, the watered ground with the parched. He has really no life in him. So Yahweh says, I will not forgive that man. So Yahweh doesn't discuss here that woman.
Right.
So Yahweh, and any time a family is referenced, Yahweh is always going straight to the man.
Indeed. And he's quoting you from Deuteronomy here.
Right.
We can take this all the way back to Bereshit, to Genesis.
Right.
Let's read it with Adam. What happened with Adam?
Right.
Let's go to Genesis chapter 3 and we'll read it. We'll start reading here at verse 9 of chapter 3. And Yahweh called, and Yahweh Elohim called Adam and said to him, where are you? And he said, I heard your sound in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. And he said, who told you that you were naked and have eaten from the etz, and have eaten from the etz, the tree which I commanded you not to eat? And then the man said in verse 12, the man said, the wife whom you gave to me, she gave me the etz tree and I did eat. And then Elohim says in verse 13, and Yahweh Elohim said to the woman, what have you done? And the woman said, it's the serpent that had tricked me. But I think we're going to go down to verses 17, which is very important. Because this is the formula for all of men. The kryptonite for men today seems to be women, unfortunately. But let's read it here in verse 17. And to Adam, this is Yahweh speaking, he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten from the etz, the tree which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it, cursed is the ground for your sake, and sorrow you shall eat from all the days of your life.
Right.
Because of the woman.
So what does the Torah tell you? Is be very careful about the voice of the woman, because women, they claim that they are more spiritual.
Right.
They claim they get revelation, and I got this feeling and I got that feeling, and the hormones are running wild.
Right.
And then they get all these feelings.
Right.
And then they want the man to listen to them.
But if you look at it, in the man's defense, if you look at it, you would say, well, this story, the woman ate from the tree. She did. Why didn't God run to the woman?
He didn't.
God went to who? He went straight to Adam.
He went straight to the man.
He went straight to the man
right.
and said, hey, Adam, what happened?
Said, Adam, what happened? So the point being that God never goes to the woman directly.
Right.
The man is ahead. He always goes to the man.
Even if the woman is transgression, right. Even if the woman disobeyed his voice, right. He went right to who? The man. To the man. Goodness.
Yeah. So again, it sets the precedent. God is not just going to go and blame the woman for it.
Right.
He tells Adam that you should have listened to my voice. Then he tells him that you shouldn't have listened to her voice.
Indeed.
Because emotions play a big part.
Right.
So again, the question comes: who's more spiritual? But that's another subject.
That's a whole nother subject.
Who's more spiritual, a man or woman? And being another subject, here the issue is that if the man is ahead, then of course he will go to his wife for if he wants to make a decision.
Indeed.
He wants some advice, he'll go to his wife and he'll discuss with her. but then the onus rests on him whether he should do that decision or not. He's not going to say to the wife, you decide and you do it.
Right.
Because the blame will always come back to the man.
Exactly.
That where were you when this happened?
Exactly.
Therefore, this is what we see, the precedence in both verses we quoted, is the precedence is set on the man.
Right.
And a man has a ultimate responsibility for sin or not to sin.
Indeed.
So here, I think that is self-evident. The answer is self-evident.
Well, I guess it's incumbent when we look at 2017 for the woman to make sure she gets what? A righteous man.
Yeah.
Because her judgment depends upon who? The man.
The man, right.
And then for the man, what can we say? Well, the man, you really have to be on your Torah game.
Right.
You really have to make sure you're doing Torah.
You have to get a righteous, at least when we say a righteous woman, which we describe, what's a righteous woman?
Yes.
A woman that's obedient to you.
Yes, indeed.
That's a righteous woman.
Indeed.
Not a woman that goes to synagogue 7 times a week, or who knows how to read the Hebrew of the Torah, and who can, just do the customs, with their hands behind the back folded.
Yeah,
We're not talking about that kind of woman.
Right.
We're talking about a woman that listens to you.
Indeed.
A woman that don't listen to you is of no use.
Well, what if the man says, I can't find a woman, or even the woman says, I can't find a righteous man here in North America. I've been looking, I can't find it. What do I do, Rabbi? What do I do?
I have had a lot of discussions with the people in North America where they had difficulties finding wives in North America, and so my answer to them was that if you can't find a wife in your state, not in your city, not in your state, not in the next state, I think you better make a passport and start flying out somewhere else.
Yeah.
Start flying out to the east or maybe another place and start seeking a wife elsewhere. Because the world is very big.
Indeed.
Israelites all over the place.
Indeed. We're scattered to the four corners.
Right. So you can't be just stuck in North America.
Right.
So therefore, sometimes for some people, not for every man,
right,
but for some men, they're going to have to make that choice.
And I would encourage you not to just settle for every, whatever you see around you, just because you think you have to settle. This is so important that you get the family in order and get your house in order. Right. Correct, Hakoim?
I'm pretty sure that, if you have rabbis around you and, you're having difficulty searching for a wife in your city or in your state, I'm pretty sure that most of the rabbis are connected abroad. And they can probably connect you up somewhere and say, go to this, country or this city, and I know such and such a rabbi or such and such person, and they can put you in touch with maybe women are looking for husbands.
Yeah, indeed.
We've had many instances where we've had, people across the board, across the world ask us that are there any righteous men who are looking for wives?
Indeed.
We've dealt with that problem.
And I think it's so important, Hakoim, that we do establish this, because I can speak for myself and probably for you as well. You're the first one in your family, your generation, that's come back to the Torah, that received the revelation to come back to the Torah.
Yes.
So now we're establishing homes and going to raise children that are going to be Torah compliant or raised in a family of Torah homes.
Absolutely.
So, my goodness, is this not a very important time in this age that we're in, that we get this right as far as relationship is concerned? What do you think?
We've got to get it right, because if you don't get it right, you're going to waste about 7 to 8 years.
My goodness.
Before you get it right.
My goodness.
Or you may lose a decade.
Indeed.
So you don't want to lose a decade, because you could potentially, if you marry the wrong wife, you lose at least 7 to 10 years.
My goodness.
And that's a long time.
That's a long time.
In anybody's lifespan.
Indeed.
And if you're already in your middle age, you don't want to be there.
Indeed.
And if you're 20 something, then that's a different matter.
Right.
You may want to you may be willing to take that chance.
Right.
But in my particular instance, I was married to a woman who was a Muslim, and I had to leave that marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost a 17-year-old marriage.
My goodness.
But everybody's not in the same boat.
Right.
So you have to think very carefully.
Right.
About these matters.
Right. This is serious business. Don't take relationships lightly anymore. I know as Gentiles we probably did, but now that you're Hebrews, you're Jews, we need to set the precedent for the rest of the whole world so that they can see the light in the nations.
Sometimes, unfortunately, we try our best, as human beings, we try our utmost to find a person that is, to the right capacity for us, but we just don't seem to find that person.
Right.
And then we have no choices left.
Right.
And then a lot of the times I hear people saying words like, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
I will tell you this much, Rabbi Kifa, when you set your mind that you want a righteous wife. And but we already described what righteous is. Righteous is not one who goes to synagogue 7 times a week, or even does all the 7 festivals.
No.
Righteous is one who obeys a husband who is in Torah.
Indeed.
So if that is the case, then the question is this, that if you decide to venture out, you say that I'm going to go and venture out, you pray to Yahweh, you say that, I'm going to go and find a wife, or maybe you go, you ask your local rabbi, and you're going to find a wife outside, Yahweh will make the provision for you.
Indeed.
He will make the provision.
Indeed.
If you're seeking for righteousness, if you're seeking after righteousness, your provision will be made.
Indeed.
And that wife will come to you.
Indeed.
But if you're going to just sit there and whine, I don't have the money, and
Wait for Amazon to bring your husband in a box to your door. It's just not happening, right? That's not realistic. That's not realistic, I call you.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. My goodness.
You got to act.
Yeah.
You got to act on it.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
And maybe sometimes maybe there are women in other states of North America.
Indeed.
And that you just haven't been to those states.
Right.
But when you pray and you ask and seek guidance and counsel from God, then God will bring that to pass for you.
Indeed, and I think I need to throw this in as well. I don't think the God of Israel in today's time, even in Torah time, want us to be single, right? No. Single men, single women.
No.
I don't think that's his
No, not unless you're 95 years old.
Right.
Then that's okay.
Yeah, right. Right.
Because you probably had done your
you done.
Even at 95, rabbis get married, by the way. So so let's just say you're 95 years old and your desire is done.
Yeah.
Right? That's a different matter.
Right. Right.
But the order, Yahweh's order is man should not be alone.
Right.
Equally, the woman should not be alone.
Indeed. All right. Yeah. Baruch Hashem, y'all.
So this is very, very important that we understand that, one of the words that you told me your wife said from the East was that a woman should not be alone.
Right. Indeed.
Which I found kind of interesting,
yes,
to say the least.
To hear from a woman that a woman should not be alone. Very successful woman.
Yeah.
Material-wise, she has everything.
Right.
But she said a woman should not be alone.
And that's coming from a woman, in the East.
In the East.
And not from a like a same religionist woman.
No. She's no religion, and
right.
she said this.
So how did you determine her righteousness?
My goodness, she obeyed me, and I put her through some tests to see if she would just obey me, just to see if she would obey me. Put a little trial, a little test, and she obeys me.
So we come down back to what is a righteous woman is one who obeys her husband.
Indeed.
And that's where your life, your companionship, your chemistry, all those fancy words that people
Indeed.
use, that's where your wife has to obey you.
So as Jews, do we need to look at our wives being equal to us as men, Jewish men? Do they have to be equal to us in the context of spirituality or the context of knowing Torah? Do we do it? And again,
not.
What I see a lot of men do is they take this Torah and they give it to their wives and say, okay, you follow this. Is that right?
It's not right. It's not necessary. A wife's role is to look after the home, and she has to know the laws that govern a kitchen or a house.
Right.
And that's her remit. Right. And then if she needs to know anything more than that, she has a husband.
Right.
And I see in this Western society that women think that they can just go to God as God is sitting in Walmart, on a checkout. Mm-hmm. You can just go to Him and say, give me this, and God will give it to you. That's not how God operates. A wife is always supposed to go to a husband, and a husband is supposed to bring the Torah and present the answer to the wife. And if he doesn't know, he's to go to his rabbi and ask. That's the order.
That's the order.
And I think the order totally is broken in North America right now.
Understand.
So people need to know how the order works. And you're not going to find God in Walmart. God's presence can be in Walmart. But I'm saying that, generally speaking, you don't look for God in Walmart.
Right.
And get an answer in Walmart.
Right.
But you're going to get your answer from God in your house, either from the husband, or it's going to be from your local rabbi, or whatever counsel God has supplied to you.
And Yah forbid that this verse pertains to you that Hakohin read about the bitter seed, the bitter fruit. And it's important that if the relationship isn't right with the husband and wife, then what can you expect from the children? I mean, go figure.
Well, if you marry a woman that's unrighteous or becomes unrighteous, then we have a saying that an unrighteous woman will turn a righteous man into a wicked man. We also have a saying that a righteous woman can turn a wicked man into a righteous man. So then there are always chances that if you marry an unrighteous woman, like like if you remember Judah, there's an example in the Torah.
Yeah.
Judah originally married an unrighteous woman,
Right.
and he was sore vexed with her. He, didn't get along with her. The children that were produced didn't listen to the father.
Right.
So we have it's not a story. It's a true story. It's not a legend. So the true story tells us that our forebear Judah had that problem. No wonder Judah today has a problem with beautiful women.
Indeed. Still the same.
Tonight.
Still the same. Still the same premise.
So therefore we have to be very careful of which women we marry, especially unrighteous ones. You may fall in love with an unrighteous woman
Right.
who doesn't care about Torah or anything,
Right.
and doesn't even care about what you think. She only cares about nice makeup, nice clothes, and
Right.
you can take her out Friday night,
Right.
go to the cinema or whatever, and that is a disaster waiting to happen.
Right. Right. So take heed, Mishpachah. I would encourage you to really pay attention and to really see the relevance and importance of establishing a proper relationship
Yeah.
today in 2017 going forward.
Absolutely.
Because we don't want to take 10 steps forward and then 50 back, Hakohi.
Well, as I said, that if you end up in a wrong marriage, you're talking about a decade
My
lost.
goodness.
And let's not talk about child support in this
Oh,
country.
yeah.
That's
do we
something
even
that-
need to go there? We don't even need to go there.
I
do
mean,
we?
I come from Europe, I'm from England,
Yeah.
so when I heard child support, hey, people get jailed for it, I was like, my goodness,
Yeah.
I never heard of that in
Yeah.
England, that people don't get jailed in England for child support.
Right.
Hey, people get jailed for child support.
Right.
So we're not only talking about a decade lost.
My goodness.
If you produce unrighteous children,
Right.
you could have 3 decades lost.
Indeed. You
Or
could
maybe 2
probably
decades
never
lost.
recover. Think about it. In your lifetime, you could probably never recover.
Because-
Financially, because you couldn't afford another family. You couldn't even think about it.
Because you could be maybe stuck for another 19 years
Indeed.
for the child to grow.
Indeed, yes.
Well, that's something to think about.
Yeah, that's something real heavy to think
Yeah.
about going forward. And I'm pretty sure most of you have probably been in and out of relationships already, so you understand exactly what we're talking about.
The Torah, this is why we say the Torah is king.
Indeed.
Listen to Yahweh's voice.
Indeed. And I think on that note, we can close. The
Yeah.
Torah is king. Torah is king. Make it king of your life. Torah is already king. But here's another question, Akko. Is it the king of your life?
That's
Is it the
right.
king of your life?
Right.
That's the question.
Yes, so with that, I think this needs to be definitely thought through very
Yeah.
carefully before such relationships take place.
Indeed. Indeed. And you've come so far in Torah. Why take all those steps backwards? Because you make a wrong decision in coming into your Torah relationship.
Right.
You had many Gentile relationships, but now you come into Torah relationship. Let's get it right.
Right, absolutely.
Right. So again, Tada, Rabbah HaKohen for being here.
Today,
And
for
Rabbi
being in
Simon.
San Antonio.
Yeah,
for
in
being
San
here.
Antonio. Tell you, I always love it when he's here. And you all, we're still in Sukkot, Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So we'll say Shabbat Shalom to you, Rabbi Kifa, coming from the Lion's Den.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful Sabbath and really focus in on relationship. Because the God of Israel is all about relationship.
Right. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom,
Yeah.
shalom. Shabbat Shalom to all of you.
Good stuff.